Hi, I'm Mel Feinberg. I welcome you to my interview coaching presentation. This PowerPoint is one of 4 tools that you have to help you improve significantly your interview skills. The second tool is a detailed, extensive interview guide from which this PowerPoint was taken. Your third tool is a hypothetical evaluation form that an interviewer may use to evaluate your performance in the interview and determine whether you should get a job offer. The last tool that we have is a planning tool, which helps you consolidate your thoughts as to what you feel you've learned from this coaching and helps you plan out how you're going to get the job that you want. Our goal is to make you more confident, comfortable, and prepared for the interview so you will get the job that you want. This PowerPoint is separated into 5 modules. The first module is preparing for the interview. The second module is developing your interview plan and your strategy. The third module is questions that you may be asked. The fourth module is questions that you may ask. And the last module is a range of tips, ideas, and suggestions for you to improve your interview skills. In the first module, we will discuss how to prepare for your interview so that when you walk into your interview, you are in the best possible position to succeed. We now begin. Hi, I'm Mel Feinberg. Welcome to my interview preparation presentation. I have more than 12 years of experience working one-on-one with more than 700 coaching clients. I'm going to give you the benefit of my experience. Here's our agenda of what we're going to cover. Some introductory subjects, and then we will go through the development of the interview strategy, one of the most important parts, the most important part of our discussion. We'll talk about some sample questions you may get. And of course, it's impossible to practice for any conceivable question you may get. If you go online and search on interview questions, you'll be flooded with hundreds and hundreds of questions, and there's no way to prepare and spend time practicing responding to so many questions. The best way to prepare for those questions is to have a strategy that gives you guidance on how to approach questions that you might not be ready for. And that's what we'll be talking about. So after we develop the interview strategy, we'll go through some sample questions so you get an idea of how to apply the strategy to respond to questions. And we'll cover a number of important follow-up points. First, let's discuss the resume. Of course, the resume does not get you the job. Your objective is clearly to get an interview. So you want to give the interviewer reasons to call you in to learn more about you to see whether you're the right person for the job. Your resume should be concise, shouldn't go back too many years in the past if that experience is not really relevant to what you currently do. The interviewer is looking to find out what you accomplished in your work experience or in your academic background. Depending on what you accomplished, the interviewer would be confident then that you could accomplish something similar for them, for the employer. So therefore, your resume should focus on accomplishments, results, to the extent you can objectively describe them, rather than simply what your responsibilities were. When scheduling the interview, if you're calling up to speak either directly to the interviewer or to someone who is arranging the interview session, be concise, to the point, and certainly be polite. You're interrupting that person's day with your phone call, so no need to get into extraneous matters. Get right to the point. Try to avoid having that phone call turn into the interview itself. You want to meet your interviewer face to face. That's how you can make the best impression. When discussing when you want to come in, day and time, my suggestion to you is do not ask for help, such as asking, when would you like to see me? My suggestion for you is to say a specific time and date. May I meet with Miss So-and-so on Thursday morning? If that's inconvenient, how about Friday morning? Give a couple of options. Now, the reasons why I suggest you do it this way rather than simply asking, when do you want to see me, is twofold. One, you want to show that you could drive decision making, help people come to a decision rather than asking an open ended, ambiguous question. Secondly, and this depends on your own personality, you need to make a very great impression, almost like viewing the interview as a movie. You're starring in a movie called Job Interview, and you're playing the part of job candidate. How impressive are you? How excited and energetic are you? How competent and professional are you? The same way a great actor makes you believe that he is the role that he is playing, you want to be really believable in the role you're playing as a job applicant. So you need to be at your best, like an athlete training for competition. And for some people, that may vary over the course of a day. Some people jump out of bed and they're ready to face the world. And so they would prefer to have an interview in the morning. Other people might drag through the morning, and after a couple of cups of coffee, they're ready to go. So an afternoon session would be best for them. So by suggesting a time, you're directing the conversation to try to get the interview scheduled for when you could be most impressive. Of course, it may not work out that day. You clearly are subject to the availability of the interviewer, so you may not get the best time that you want, but you want the discussion to begin in that direction. And of course, if you've scheduled the interview a couple of days in advance, call the day before to reconfirm. Some quick voicemail guidelines. Very simple. And I've had clients who don't follow this simple rule. Make sure your voicemail is clear so that you can accept voicemail messages. You could imagine the frustration of an interviewer trying to set up an interview and calling you and can't even leave a message. You should also try to make your message somewhat personal rather than just giving your phone number. If you're concerned about privacy, then just use your first name. Hi, this is Mel. Please leave a message. Right to the point, and it makes it clear to the interviewer or whoever is calling that they've reached me rather than just a phone number and they don't really know who's behind that phone number. This is one of our most important slides, so let's spend a couple of minutes discussing your preparation before you go into the interview. You have to spend time studying the company, studying the industry that it's in, studying their history. You should also try to collect information about the people you are going to be interviewed with. Perhaps there's some similar background that could be a nice point of discussion during the course of the interview. There are three reasons, important reasons, for why you do this preparation, this homework, intensive homework before your interview. One of the most obvious is, of course, you're looking at this job opportunity as a long term career opportunity. Therefore, you want to know whether this is the best company for you. Is it the right company? You don't want to get a job in a company that has some kinds of problems, either growth or market share or turnover of employees, some other problem, or maybe some legal problems they're running into. You'd rather know that before you go into the interview rather than find out after you get a job and then you have to leave after a short time. Not a great thing to have on your resume. So the more you learn about the company, the better positioned you are to determine whether to accept an offer if you're fortunate enough to get one. Another reason, an important reason, is you want to show you're treating this interview as something serious. If you are going to a very important meeting, you are going to prepare for it. You're going to be ready for the questions that you might get. You want to show the interviewer that you have invested this time. If you learn a lot about a company, but you don't really talk about it, you don't say what you read that impresses you, then the interviewer has no idea that you've actually invested that time. So you have to bring into the interview, kind of weave it into the discussion, what you've learned. And we'll talk about exactly how you might do that. And related, a third reason to doing the research is you also want to show that you are someone who prepares for meetings. So when you get the job, you're now on the job, and your boss sends you to a meeting with maybe outside people or perhaps people in another division of the company. your boss will know that you are going to this meeting prepared. You're not going to embarrass your management by going to a meeting unprepared. And related to this, we'll get into this example in the near future here of the discussion. There are certain questions you can get that you would have real difficulty in responding to unless you've done this research.